Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in to the second video in this letter writing month series that we are doing together. My name is Slylar Hand and I am collaborating with the Paper Seahorse this month to show you different ways that you can interact with your pen pals for this month. So in the first video, I showed you guys how to make this envelope out of a 12 by 12 piece of paper to send to your pen pal. And in this episode, I'm going to show you how you can easily decorate and address your envelope, and then ways to decorate your notebook and how to get started writing the letter. So quickly, I don't have someone in mind that I need to send this to right this very moment. So I'm just going to show you ways that I might decorate the cover or the envelope. So two ways that I've discovered that I really like to decorate or address this envelope is a simple shipping tag that I just put on the cover of the envelope, and then I put my postage just right here, and then I can just address the tag. And some of my favorite utensils to address are these precision pens from American Crafts, and then my Tombow brush marker. This is what I use to do a lot of my hand lettering, and this is what I like to use to write the letter. But I was really lucky recently and found some really awesome vintage Denison address labels, and the box was totally full, so I got really lucky. So you could use one of these simple labels, or you could even put the label on top of the shipping tag. It's totally up to you. If you are shipping in the US, the address might be a little simpler and easier, but if you're shipping over in the Asia area, their address lines are usually like 5 or 6 lines long, especially if they live in bigger cities like Beijing or Tokyo. So it totally depends on how big your address is going to be. So yeah. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just see the previous video to be able to get an understanding of what I'm talking about for this handmade envelope. So I'm going to move on quickly to the insert. And what I have here is a 014 Traveler's Notebook insert from Midori. It's the craft insert, and I really like this one a lot because it's hand sewn, so I know that it's not going to tear. The stapled inserts tend to, once they get super full, they tend to pull out. But and I like the feel of the craft paper. It feels very authentic and vintage, and I just really like it. So I'm going to get started quickly on this. So I just have a couple of antique papers here. I just had them in my stash. So I don't know if I want to cover this yet or not. So maybe while I figure it out, I'll put it to music and speed it up a little bit and let you guys just watch what the end result is going to be. product of that little layout looks like. I just like to fill up the page because it's right behind this cover page where I'm going to write who the letters inside are to and from, and the dates of when they were started and when they ended. And then what I like to do is I usually like to use the next 3 pages. So this one, and this one to write my first letter. So I like to decorate my pages first. And I've just picked up some, just some ephemera that I have in my stash. And I'll probably use some washi tape and some stamping too. So I'm just going to quickly decorate the pages a little bit, and then I'll write my letter around the decoration that I've used. And one thing that I really like to do is if I use an element, I really like to carry it through. So these Denison labels that I have, I like to carry them through. So it just kind of creates this cohesiveness that feels really nice and looks really nice on the page. So I've got one here. I might use one on the outside of the envelope like I discussed earlier in the video. So I just like to carry 1 or 2 elements throughout the entire letter process so that the first couple pages feel really cohesive, and it kind of gives the recipient an idea of where to begin if they like that style, if they have a similar style, and it kind of gives them an idea of how to continue the feel of the entire book. Now, all the letters are going to be completely different, and you know, by the time I get this particular notebook back, when the recipient has written in it and returned it back to me, the ephemera that I've originally used is going to be totally gone. So the whole notebook is just going to have this, you know, it's either going to be really cohesive and feel really nice, or it's going to be completely different on each page, which to me is totally fine. I just have a lot of this spring ephemera that I really like to use, and I love the vintage style, so that's what I'm going with. So I'm going to put you on fast forward again with some music while you guys watch and see how I decorate a little bit of this, and then I'll come back in the end once I've completed the pages and I'm ready to start my letter. The basis from my letter pages done, I'm going to start working on the cover of the notebook. This is usually my favorite part. I usually spend the most time on the cover because it's my happiest. I really get to spread my wings a little bit, and I don't know, I just love the feel of covering something. So a technique that I really like to do is tearing the paper. It just gives it this really rustic kind of vibe, and I kind of get an idea of where I want the paper to go, and then I just start, oh, look at that. This tape runner makes it really hard on this antique paper, so I'm just going to use this. It just gives me an idea of, you know, kind of how I want the layout to go, how far down or over I need it to go, and it's just a little bit easier. So put some tape there. down, and across. Alright, now I've gathered some more ephemera that I'm going to use to decorate the cover now that I've gotten the paper down. So I'm just going to quickly put this down and let you guys watch. Okay, so now that the notebook is complete, your letter is finished, you're ready to go, I just want to kind of talk about some extras that you could do. Now, you saw earlier in the video I attached this glassine bag from the United States Postal Service. I do this because I always like to send little things in the envelope, and that way the recipient can take the things out, use them if they want, and then put something else in there that maybe they've made, or washi samples, or pieces of ephemera, or stamps, just something like that. It's just a nice way to send something. I'm going to be writing in here, you know, who the letters are between. Usually I write down in this book is the correspondence between Slylar and whomever, and then I usually like to try to write the start date in there, so that's what I usually use this for, but I went ahead and stamped this in so that I could write down that I started the book, and then it just goes from there. And then you can just start writing your letter in here. I've got this part right here so that I can date the letter. I always like to try to date my letter, and then I can kind of move on into the letter from that point. I always like to sign my letters first and then kind of move in from there, talking about, you know, who I am as a person, and that I'm a mom, that I have a cat, I love cats, just things that I love in general. And in the corresponding blog post, you should see a bunch of other suggestions on what you could put in the letter as well. I always write a little bit about how my husband and I met, how long we've been married, that I like to travel, what I like to collect, and just stuff like that. Just super simple surface things. I never try to get too deep in my letters because you don't know what the other person's beliefs are. You don't know what they stand for, and I just try not to get too deep and stuff like that. I'm just sharing. I'm just sharing stories, what my life is about right now, and that's it. So I hope you like this tutorial. I hope you will go ahead and go over on the blog and read everything about the blog. I hope that you're participating in National Letter Writing Month. It's a really awesome month, and I'm having a lot of fun participating. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can see all future videos that the Paper Seahorse puts up. And if you have any questions, we'll be more than willing to help you and answer anything that you may have. Until next time, thanks. Bye.